Hello everyone, welcome to Indie Journal in Focus. In a couple of weeks actually, what are deemed to be the world's biggest elections are going to start. But this time around, there are several doubts, several complaints, and several questions, several concerns in the minds of the citizens, in the minds of the political leaders, activists, everybody as to whether these elections are going to be free and fair. What is going to be the status of these elections, whether they are going to be trustworthy. And there are many reasons behind these concerns, behind these questions. We see how the political parties are being treated, the opposition parties are being treated. A sitting CM has been for the first time arrested after the election was declared. But I think one of the most important reasons why these questions are being raised are the EVMs, the electronic voting machines. And on Indie Journal, we have had several discussions on the issues related to EVMs, how they cannot be hacked, but they can be manipulated. And we are going to continue that discussion today. And for that, we have with us Mr. Arun Kumar Agarwal. Welcome to the show, sir. And we are going to discuss more into this. Mr. Arun Kumar Agarwal is an activist. He is a well-renowned lawyer, and he is the man behind the petition that led to the Supreme Court issuing notice to the Election Commission and to ask them to count all the VVPAT paper slips instead of just a few in each assembly segment, as was the rule, as was the norm. So I think this is a big step. This is a huge decision. So without taking more time, I would like to come to you straight away, sir. And let's start with the first question. So since all of these proceedings have taken place over the last week, we see almost very little to almost no mention of it on social media, in the mainstream media. Sorry, on social media, people have been talking. Parallel media has taken up this issue quite a lot, but we don't see it being discussed much on the mainstream media. So, could you please tell our viewers about this petition and the petition that you filed? What went on behind filing this petition, and what happened in the Supreme Court hearing which led to issuing of the notices?
Thank you for having me. See, this controversy of counting of the votes has been going on for more than a decade.
Right.
Usually it springs from the political party, which is a sore loser. And whoever loses, he wants to blame somebody and not the fact that he's not popular enough. But this time there was a difference, where the entire demand came from the public. And there was a substantial amount of public opinion which started believing that somehow elections were rigged. Now, probably it had a background because they had seen it actually on the screen being rigged, or they had seen gross abuse of government authority, or maybe they were just helpless and wanted to, say that, look, we are being, the election is being stolen. Now, this fact that the election is being stolen is a very grave charge and a blot on our democracy. Right. And if we have the wherewithal, then we should try and cure it to a point that nobody can say that the election was stolen and it was a fair election. It was fairly fought and fairly won. Now, so you will find the difference that previously, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, though he went to the court as an individual, he was a member of a political party. And that time also books were written, Mr. Advani was railing against this, all that was happening. Then in 2019, political parties led by Chandrababu Naidu, the 21 political parties, they went to court. Yeah. This time, there are about 3 or 4 petitions which are pending, and all of them are by individuals who have a sense of social service or who are concerned, and who understand and also have the will to go into it. One is, of course, by Prashant Bhushan. Another one is by a very senior IAS officer, Devasham, who, along with Justice Lokur, was on a committee which conducted the entire review of the voting by electronic voting and came out with an adverse finding based on experts both in India and abroad. It is not
Yeah.
a report that can be lightly taken. I entered into it because when I went through it, I found that there was absolutely no excuse as to why the Election Commission will not count the VVPAT votes. And let me explain. VVPAT votes are the paper votes that a person casts, and they are the almost like a ballot. It's a more convenient form of, instead of taking a ballot and stamping it and putting it here, everything is automated. And let me tell you that we are the only country in the world which has got both a paper trail and an electronic trail. So that being so my usual tendency to see what is wrong, where it has gone wrong. And when I went deep into it, or what you call deep dived into it, I found that the only reason that they would not count all the VVPAT votes was that it would take a lot of time. Now, why would it take a lot of time? Because Election Commission, for some reason, which I'll come to later, which is totally arbitrary and malified, which I believe is malified, I shouldn't be using that word, is that they insist on counting one VVPAT after another, means sequentially. Unless and until the count is not over for the first one, they will not count the next one. So naturally, if they go and say that there are 250 booths or VVPAT in an assembly constituency, then, and it takes 1 hour according to them, though it should be much shorter, international norms are there, to count one VVPAT, it will take 250 hours. So it will take almost 12 days, 13 days. So this sequential counting was the key to the entire excuse of this taking a lot of time, and hence they will not count this and they will count the electronic voting. Now the problem with we Indians is that for us seeing is believing. If we don't see something, we tend to be skeptical. So if I have not seen my ballot paper drop, or if I have not seen my vote, was assured that my vote has been counted, and it's just an electronic thing, I tend not to believe. So then when I looked into it, then I came to this, that they're doing it sequentially. So then I bifurcated it into 3 prayers. The first prayer was that this sequential counting of vote is arbitrary and it should be done simultaneously. And I worked out the math. I said, if you don't do it one at a time, and if you have 50 teams doing it, which will be 150 people, then you can complete the task within 5 hours. It's much like, a person does a particular task in 100 days. So if there are 100 persons, how many days will it take? It will take 1 day. We have all done that maths or arithmetic in class 7. I don't know, you all might have done in class 5, but we used to do it in class 7. So based on that principle, I said that you have enough manpower and you have enough this thing. So please do that. So then I asked for counting of all the votes. That was one prayer. The second prayer was that quash this particular guideline which says that you will count sequentially and count it simultaneously. And the third one was, which is very vital, that I want to see my vote, which is there on the electronic paper, being cut and drop into the box. That is known as a drop box.
Right.
Or if you can't do that and show me, then give me that paper, because there is an outlet in the bottom of that drop box, and I will put it into another box. So either or. Either you show me that, or you give me the vote. Last night when I was going through it, I discovered that when a VVPAT goes wrong, then the Election Commission says that if the vote is stuck there in the VVPAT and it has not been cut, then that person, that vote will not be counted, and that person should be given an opportunity to vote. So according to the admission of the Election Commission itself, your vote is not a vote till it is cut. I can
Right.
give you the specific particular this thing in their manual. They admit.
Yes.
So it has to be, once it is cut, then and only then the signal goes into the central unit where your vote gets registered. So if that is the
Right.
case, then you have a duty to show me that my vote, my slip, voting slip got cut and it dropped
Right.
into the. So that's a very legitimate and common sense prayer to have and expect the election commission to clear its way.
Right.
The second funny thing that I found again recently is that they say we will count this VVPAT one by one. And when it comes to counting of electronic votes, they have a hall in which there are 14 seats, 14 tables, and they have a provision to have another hall. So they have 28 tables counting electronic votes simultaneously as of now. Why can't they do
Right.
it in that same 28 table? Why can't they count the VVPAT slips? Are those people who are counting less honest? What is your bottleneck? After all, those people are also ADM, SDM. They have also passed PCS, and they are government officers, and it is not a very high-tech job. I mean, probably a cashier would do it much better and much faster. I mean, it's not to debase anybody, but you have to have corresponding skills for a corresponding job. So when it comes to counting, we have seen in demonetization, the cashiers are the best people to do it. And by the way, they can also be deputed for election duty. So, A, when you have the manpower, when you have all the means, then why will you not count it? More so, when your law says that if there is a difference between a count of the electronic central unit and that of the paper slip, then the vote of the paper slip will prevail.
Right.
So, I mean, if this is the lay of the plan, it is the duty of the election commission not to give excuses and to implement it if their excuse was that it cannot be done in one day, but it will take 12 days' time. That excuse is much like the State Bank of India's excuse that we can't, we'll take 110 days. Yes, 110 days to give the details of the buyer and the seller of the electoral bonds. No, by the way, I was a petitioner there also.
Yes, you were. Yes.
As a shareholder. So,
Right.
This is the reason that one has gone to court. And there is another angle which I am gradually discovering is, and if it is true, it is very damaging. And that angle is relating to the cost of the VVPAT machine. See, they went to the court. I mean, they implemented it on the direction of the court. So, to the extent that the court has directed them to introduce the VVPAT, and they've introduced a third element, which is not a stand-alone element, and most of the manipulation is being attributed to it. So, probably the court itself will rectify it, and in justice, it should be done. But they went to the court and said that we need 13 lakh VVPAT machines, which will cost us 30,000 each. So we need 1,670 crores. In actual this thing, in the first tranche, they bought some 14.7 lakh machines or something like that. No, it's some other figure. I'll just check. So they bought at 19,000 rupees. Now, my problem is this, that VVPAT machine has got a thermal printer. There is no inkjet, there is no laser printer. All of us, I mean, there may be something different, who, when we go to a hotel or when we take money from the ATM or wherever we get a thermal printout, it fades. The life is not more than 3 months, 6 months. According to the law, which was prior to the coming of the VVPAT and ordering of the VVPAT, it was that you have to preserve this paper slip for 1 year. And Poonam Agarwal, I think she is the person, she went on an RTI, and for
Yes.
the 2019 election, they revealed that they had destroyed the paper slip within 4 or 5 months. Now, Election Commission has broken its own law. Why did it break it? It was probably because those paper slips had faded.
They
And this
faded, yeah.
whole scam, no, this is additional information. Let me make it very clear. This has not been pled in the petition.
Petition, yeah.
And I'm just putting it in the public domain, that if it is so that you have used the thermal printout which does not last 1 year, then you have definitely failed in your duties of conduct of a poll as per the laws, because they have to be preserved for 1 year. And this destruction of the paper slip is not an accidental act, but because there was nothing on it. So it was better to,
destroy them.
To that extent, no allegation, they have to come clean. They did not come clean the last time. So then the question arises, then why did you spend 5,000 crores? See, they spent 3,000 something, and then they again went back and purchased 7 lakh more machines. Now, if you are using a thermal printer and if you went for a bid, a best of the thermal printers will not cost you more than, that entire setup will not cost you more than 5,000 rupees. So if you are ordering 24 lakh machines and you are counting only 20,000, 20,000 machines, then what is happening? A lot of money is being wasted or is being made in VVPAT machines itself. So this is also a very, mystifying factor in this entire this not counting. I'll come to the last part.
So,
you see, elections, like justice, it has to be seen to be fair. It is very important that people should have confidence in the system.
Yes.
It is not the satisfaction of the Election Commission which is important. And I dare say, the courts have said it is not even the confidence of the Honorable Court. It is the confidence and the faith of the people.
The voters.
That the democracy is based on the true votes cast by the people who elect their representatives. That is the most fundamental aspect of the Constitution. So, if the Election Commission can count, as was being done in the past, the entire votes, I have said 5 hours, maybe it will take 10 hours, 12 hours, but if you do the maths with the existing 28 tables that is mandated in the manual meant for the returning officer. There is a manual of the returning officer. In that they have given that and you can take permission for more. So if you simultaneously count votes on 28 tables that you are doing for this thing, that will take less than 10 hours. According to the maths of the Election Commission, not my maths. So there is a strong case.
Yes.
The case
and so
also, the case also, it can be done right now in the next counting, because the counting is in I think June 4th or something.
It's on 4th of June, yes, yeah.
Yes, it can be done. Now go ahead, ask what.
Yeah. So basically, to summarize it all, Election Commission has the resources to count all the VVPAT slips. It can, and there is the provision that says that it's the VVPAT vote that prevails in case there is a confusion. And yet we see this reluctance on their part, this hesitation that they do not want to do that. And this has been asked for multiple times before and they still don't want to do that. So now that the petition the hearings have started, and the Supreme Court has taken serious cognizance of it, and now they have also assured that they will hold the further hearings also before the elections. What do you think? How are the proceedings going? How is the matter going ahead? Do you think
No,
that the elections are starting in less than 3 weeks now, although the counting is on 4th of June? So before that, do you think some verdict, some decision related to this could
no, you
actually come?
see, it is, I mean, nobody can second guess the Supreme Court. And as a very famous lawyer used to say, that it is like a casino. It's a fact. There are many cases which we think we will win, we can't lose, and we lose. And there are many a times when there are cases which we know we'll lose, but sometimes we win. So I'm not going to second guess, but what I can say is that everybody who is concerned for democracy, and it is the Election Commission itself whose credibility is on the line. So, and I'm very sure if the Honorable Supreme Court Justice just says that, Acha, tell me how long will you take? Why can't you do it in a day? I'm telling you, Election Commission will fall in night, just as State Bank of India did. Just that one sentence, if that is uttered by the Honorable, and what is wrong in counting votes simultaneously? The entire country is on the boil. There are conflicts going on. That will do the trick. But will it happen? You see, we are very competent lawyers. See, I, for one, would like to single out my AOR, Neha Rathi, who did tremendous work, found out that this thing worked pro bono, and the senior counsel, who is a young person, Gopal Shankar Narayan, upcoming from National Law School. Similarly, Mr. Kapil Sibal is there, Prashant is there. So we have people to put their case, and we are all on a different arena, because Mr. Sibal's client is more on the rigging, what are the flaws, how it has been functioning. I am on the maths of it, this much time. So, I mean, why not?
Right.
So Prashant has his own take, which is always a different take. So we are hopeful, and we have to have an open mind, and I'm sure honorable judges also have an open mind, because they said it, that yes, it is important and we intend to take it. So if they take it, they will decide it, and there is ample time to implement it.
Yes, and to interject just a little bit, the Election Commission, as you said, they have been saying that it's going to be time consuming. We are going to need more time to do this. But if we look at how the elections are conducted, like this time they are in 7 phases. So they are going to start from 19th April, and the counting is going to be on 4th of June. So the person who votes in the first phase, the person who votes on 19th April anyway, will have to wait for almost 1.5 months before he knows the result for his constituency. So what difference would it make if the voter has to wait for, say, a few more hours, if the counting process takes a few extra hours?
No, you are young. I mean, as I keep on telling, I was from Bihar. I used to live in Bihar till I came to Bangalore. See, I have been to the counting hall, and an MP's election, counting would go late into the night. Nobody would go home and say, I want to sleep. They would finish at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock. If the counting had started at 8 in the morning, it would be over by the late night or whatever. So all we have to do here is use those 28 tables which are already there.
Yes.
And you say that no, and they can also say, we'll start with VVPAT counting. Use those 28 tables, count it. Nobody can have a grievance after that. Nobody can say that we want an election by the ballot. Nobody can say that the election was stolen. Nobody can say that the election was rigged. Nobody can say that there was a spyware introduced. Nobody can say that the software or the loading of the symbol is the reason why there was some introduction. Nobody can say that the EVM was changed on the way. Nobody can say that there has been a 5% rigging of the selective and intelligent rigging.
Right.
All that will go. There will be no complaints, and we will be a happy nation, because once you know that you have lost fair and square, no matter how hard that election was and how bitterly you fought, you accept the result and you say, I was fairly beaten. And that you see on the sports field every day. Now, I mean, I have stopped following cricket, but I have seen the transition from where the country used to appoint the umpire to where neutral umpires are being appointed, to where electronics have come into making the decisions. This is all an extension of that. So when you see the government appointing the election commission, the entire thing being under them, so it adds to it. So I think that by and large, we are very hopeful, and the Supreme Court will hear our arguments and take a fair decision, whatever it may be. So to that extent, one has to be hopeful, and one has to put across. I mean, our job is to put across our point. Election Commission will put their this thing, and most important is, why can't it be done in this particular counting? So if that happens, everybody will be happy.
Exactly, because it's now that the people are doubtful. It's right now that the people have these concerns. So it's important that it's implemented right now.
Even the winner should be happy that we won fair and square. These people were always grumbling. So, I mean, what is there? I mean, in fact, I would be only too happy. I mean, like I pointed out somewhere else, if the Solicitor General concedes it, like he did in a couple of cases regarding income tax, this thing, or giving bail to Sanjay, this thing.
Yeah.
So if they say, yes, we have read it, we can do it, we have decided to do it. I mean, Election Commission will come out as a winner. And though we are all aware, I mean, Mr. Qureshi says it can be done in a day, and he says it should be done. And he was one of the biggest defender of the EVMs, mind you. And he says, no, there is nothing wrong, this, that. So if a former colleague is saying that it can be done, do it. That's all.
Why can't they consider it? Yes. So, but since we are talking about VVPAT slips here, there is also this discussion about the placement of the VVPAT units at the polling stations. We have spoken with Mr. Madhav Deshpande at length about this, and where the question of manipulation of EVMs comes. So he says that why place the VVPAT machine in between the EVM and the control unit? Why not place it on the other side of the EVM? So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about
He's a technical man. He's talking about how the wires are connected.
Yes.
I am a man of this thing. I am saying, once you give me that slip in my hand, and I have tallied, yes, I voted for X, my vote on this paper is in X, I am putting in this box, which will be sealed, and then the vote will be counted. No matter what they have done on the other side, that becomes redundant. So seeing is believing. I have taken it, I have put it there. Now you can't say that there is a ghost behind. So, that is, in fact, if you put it to him now, he will immediately agree. And most of the people who have gone, they are saying that, let me put the paper in this thing and let it be counted. And that's all that they are saying. So then the entire thing becomes pointless.
Exactly.
That is good enough. That's why it addresses everybody's grievance. Now nobody can say, oh no, have a physical ballot, paper. That also they can't say. Because I got a paper, I pressed a button, and the paper came as I voted, and I put it in that. My secrecy is also retained. Absolutely, there is no this thing. So, any other...
Yes. So, sir, when we began, you said that you also mentioned that this is not the first time that such a petition has come. And before this, it was, the issue was considered to be that of the losers. The losing party is the one that is bringing this up. But Supreme Court has not entertained any petitions before which called for complete total counting of all the VVPAT slips, or which asked for at least 50% counting of the VVPAT slips also. But right now, why are they entertaining this plea? Why have they taken such a serious cognizance of it and issued notices right away to the EC?
No, in my case, the notice was issued because it had gone to a different bench and I had a different prayer. So we had to disclose that there is a pending petition. So immediately, I mean, whatever it is, even if it has to be clubbed, judges read the petition and they come. So, I mean, when you say something which is cogent, reasonable, you are providing a solution, you are saying that this is the only reason why they won't count, this reason is not valid. So, naturally, if you just go and level wild allegation, then the court will get annoyed and they are going to fine you. So, in my case, I'm quoting the law, I'm showing where it is and what is this thing. So, they issued notice. Once the notice was issued, the peculiarity of this petition from others, that votes were being, VVPAT was being counted sequentially and not simultaneously, was something which was understood by everybody. That yes, I mean, this is so. I mean, you can't say that I have 150 guns, but I will use only one gun against the enemy by using 3 persons at a time. And on the back, I have got 1,000 people to use that guns. So you have the gun, you have the ammunition, you have everything. So that particular thing distinguished this particular petition, because it was based on, and that prayer also was a specific law. Now, I didn't say, give me the voting slip. Show me that my vote has been cut and dropped into the box.
Right.
If you can't do it, then give it to me so that I can drop it into another ballot box. So you see the entire, I mean, to be fair to the national media, they covered the petition, all of them, and they brought out the central point that was prayed for. So this made it a little different from all that petitions which have gone earlier, because more brains get involved in it, you know, the more, I mean, it's never ending thing. It's very fascinating. In fact, I spent almost 2 months, and at the end of the day, I see things happening. So one has the satisfaction that it was time well spent, well researched, and well this brought out. So that was it.
Yes. So to take it to a different topic, not a different topic, something related to this itself. So last year, I'm sure you know that a research paper by a professor, Assistant Professor Sabyasachi Das from Ashoka University, it proved to be quite controversial. He had analyzed the 2019 election data and he had made some findings, he had made some observations, and he had said that in some of the constituencies, at some of the places where, especially in the BJP ruled states,
in most marginal
there was close contest.
Right.
Yes,
it went to the ruling party.
It went to the ruling party. So with VVPAT slip counting, do you think such doubts, such concerns could be addressed with that?
Totally. I can't foresee. See, except that you can say that there was a miscount. If there was a miscount, there will be another count that side. So you can tally it. Suppose, I mean, they say it is 99% or 99.9% foolproof, but then the elections are won by 1 vote. So if you find that there is a 15 vote difference, both in the hand count and in the machine count, I mean, you have to concede it. It can't be a coincidence that you lose both the counts so narrowly. I'm telling you, it will be the most perfect elections in the world. Only because we are the only country which has both the paper trail and the electronic trail.
Right.
And then we can truly be proud of our democracy. And I hope Election Commission is hearing or will see this. Somebody will, so that they can also be proud of it rather than, be made in a contentious petition. I really can't see why they can't say, yes, we will do it. I mean, if they do it, I mean, people will remember them for posterity.
Sir, I think, so you have covered in detail what this petition is all about and why is it important to count the VVPAT paper slips as well, along with the electronic votes. Let's come to the other topic that you have been in news for, that you have been called for to talk for in the last few days, the electoral bonds. The time when the details of the electoral bonds have been revealed. It's very significant. This decision is therefore being called very significant, very historic, in fact. So it came just around a month before the election is supposed to start. So do you think it would make an impact, looking at the numbers, looking at the data and the amount that has been received by specific political parties and all the other things that have come after that, all the reports, all the so-called coincidences that we see? So do you think it will have a huge impact on the elections this time?
No, it will have an impact in a very different way. See, those committed votes, they will find some excuses. See, a person who is a Trumpite in USA, no matter how much of evidence, so it is only that narrow neutral vote which votes on merit or on issues, or that middle class whose sense is affronted. But see, I had gone to the court as a shareholder saying that my money is being given, so I have a right to know. And I went only for listed public companies, because you pass a resolution, and I had very seriously said that if you are donating the company's money, of which I am a shareholder, to a party whose political ideology I do not subscribe to, then I will sell the shares. Because I can't prevent you. It's a majority vote. But that is the level of my conscience. I mean, there was a time when I was younger, I would never buy a share of a multinational, till I realized that our Indian promoters were much worse than the multinationals in fudging the accounts. So there was no point. I mean, being a patriot, unnecessarily, it cost me a lot of money. But that's a different issue. That's an aside. Here, there are certain things which the media has not picked up. In that entire list, do you find a single IT company given money? Single
Not
IT
really.
company?
No.
The only person that I know of is my good friend Mohandas Pai, who earlier used to donate to the Congress, and from his personal account is now donating to the BJP. Apart from him, I mean, I haven't seen the full list of the check donations, and this is from his check donation, not from the list of bonds. He hasn't purchased bond. Why is it that an IT company is not donating? They are not dependent on the government for any largesse. All these mines and minerals people, they are our mines. They are over mining. They are looting our mines. That is why you find all this Vedanta, all these people who are getting contracts. There is hardly any person in that where there is not a quid pro.
Absolutely.
Apart from the extortion, which is the worst form. For that extortion alone, people should take that into account while voting. The rest of the things are like that as they were before. You do me change a policy, and today we see Kotak Mahindra, they wanted their director of favor from the RBI. RBI is doing a favor there, and he's clever enough to try and camouflage it. This, you see, in America, is a wonderful rule. I mean, whatever they may say, corporates and trade unions both could not donate. The citizens' judgment was there. Till that was reversed and said, no, corporates need not give directly, but indirectly, if under free speech, they can take up the cause and give money to ads and other affiliates. So why should corporates ever give money to anybody? What about a poor idealistic party who comes up? For sheer money, they will lose. I mean, money is not used in elections. That is used to bribe voters. My domestic, in Karnataka, it is a known fact that 500 to 1,000 rupees are paid for a vote. You verify it, gifts, kind. I mean, Jayalalitha's time, this, that, all that used to be promised and be given. So what I'm trying to say is these are the underbelly of our democracy, which we are not willing to address. And it's a misfortune that none of us who went to the Supreme Court said that this scheme should be scrapped. Not one of us. we were five, six serious. CPIM was there. I think one of
Yes.
them has said, because if we don't say it, the court will not take it up. So if we had, and probably chief did say somewhere that the scheme is, this thing is not under challenge. That whether corporate should, So that part, I think we should have. And there are certain errors we all make collectively. Why should corporates donate any money? And if there is a quid pro, why should not they be held to account? Forget what influence. They've distorted the entire election. Money is votes. We like it or not. So, it's a very sad day that in spite of all this, of course, there will be petitions, all that will happen. But in a way, the silver lining is that it did come out in the open. People did become aware of it. Even some of these corporates, you take that lottery thing. From where is he paying the money? And to whom? And people ask, why West Bengal? Why so and so? See, all the states don't allow lottery. So those states which allow him to conduct the lottery, and everything is in cash. You don't buy a lottery ticket by check. Even if you want to, you cannot buy it by check. So from that revenue, he has given this donation and probably shown it at an expense. For him, it is not coming from the profit. So the lottery is being rigged. And the poor man over there, he is dreaming that he will become a millionaire. And the back end is that everybody is becoming rich at his expense because he has that one hope that he might win. So, okay, at this stage of life, you have to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. So let us hope something happens.
Yeah, I think this last thing that you mentioned there shouldn't be any other reason why all of us need to care about all of these proceedings, whether it's about electoral bonds, whether it's about the fairness of the elections and how trustworthy our polling is the whole polling system. So I think on that note, so let's wrap up.
I'll just
this
like to add this thing. My favorite saying, it's for the public at large. Those who understand, they don't care. And those who care, they don't understand. That is why there is no action. So I'm very grateful that some of the senior bureaucrats like E.S. Sharma, Shyam, who are in their 80s, they have come forward. What for? So that I think that spirit should be there with the people, that inquisitive mind and inquiring mind, and to see the end of it.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you so much for joining us today, sir. And thank you so much for your time. So this was today's Indie Journal in Focus. We have come up with several videos related to EVM, a lot of content related to electoral bonds before. You can see all of it on our on this YouTube channel, Indie Journal. So do subscribe it and hit the like button for this video. Do share this video and hit on the bell icon as well, so that whenever we post a new video, you'll immediately get a notification for the same. Follow us on our social media handles and keep watching Indie Journal.